The Dimookom Mosque was painted electric pink to promote peace and love in an area beset by violence. We've come here to meet Umi and Komani, two former fighters of the separatist group, the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. I ask Umi why she joined the group.
I saw my parents being hit by some soldiers. They killed my uncle who was tending to his water buffalo on his farm when they passed by. Another relative was also killed. They threw their bodies into the river.
The Bangsamoro, meaning Nation of the Moro People, say that this is part of decades of religious discrimination from Catholic-dominated Manila. First established as the Moro National Liberation Front, the MILF splintered away to form the region's most dominant insurgency in the 1990s. The group that once trained with Al-Qaeda now say they reject that violent ideology, hoping to build a better future for their people through a fledgling regional parliament.
The ethnic cleansing back then was during the times of my parents. The difference now, I myself is an employee of the government. I became one of the instruments to continue the fight for the Bangsamoro cause through the government.
And it appears that the peace is holding. The MILF have publicly decommissioned hundreds of firearms. The organisation International Alerts say overall violence in the region has declined year on year since 2016, but intensified in some localities. Although the peace process appears to be taking root, there are factions here that never wanted to be part of it in the first place. So that's why we're travelling with a police escort, because in recent weeks there have been roadside bomb attacks, skirmishes between local clans, and there remains a kidnapping risk for Westerners like me. But in the main market of the regional capital Cotabato City, there's a palpable sense that things are changing.
We want peace. We Muslims and Christians come from the same place. Stop the war. Stop the misunderstandings.
The peace deal agreed full elections for parliament next year, but the region's chief minister says he'd like to push back the vote until 2025 because of setbacks caused by the pandemic. What do you say to those critics who say, could this be seen as a power grab?
There's nothing wrong in the extension, because we see that failure to properly implement the agreement will result to failure of the peace process.
For years, Umi and Komani were enemies of the state. A family outing like this would have been impossible. But now the police turn a blind eye to them. The mosque's appeal for peace seems to be working. Howard Johnson, BBC News, Mindanao.